No, but at that point, but now on the flip side, so let's flip it around now. Billy, does that make it easier for you to sell little red feather horses because there aren't as many opportunities for people who in California who want to race? Is that like a good sweet spot for you?
You know, that's a tough question, but I would actually say no. I think when you have a thriving economy and you have a thriving band of horses and you really have consistency, and unfortunately the weather has taken a toll again this year, I think it's hard for everybody. So no, I'm not going to say it's definitely easier. And you know, we're at a point in our lifetime that we do have such a great group of little red feather kind of consistent partners that join us for a bunch of horses a year, but we're always looking for new people. We want to expand our horizons. We're trying to do some stuff in other places in Kentucky, and we've had horses in New York. But our home, as I said before, is Southern California. And if anybody thinks that's not going to be the case, they're dead wrong. I mean, we are going to continue to support Southern California, continue to enter horses, and continue to buy horses for Southern California. In the last 3 months, we bought three or four horses that haven't even run yet, haven't had a chance to run yet.
Got it.
So it's been that's why I think my frustration is there that you heard prior to that comment.
Sure. No, I totally get it. And right now, Little Red Feather has approximately 40 horses on your current roster?
Yeah, I would say it's about 40. It's pretty low right now. And then with another 30 pin hooks, we have a bunch that are being sold. We have 11 horses that are being sold at OBS April in the next few days. We've had some really nice works with Julie Davies and Tom McCrocklin. Tommy had
was it Tis the Law one of yours?
No, I wish she was.
Was that the Tis the Law was like 20 and change?
Yeah, she sizzled yesterday for Tom. So kudos to him. He does a great job, and so does Julie Davies. So we'll be down there next week looking for some buys and some sells, which is exciting.
Yeah. It is. It's great to be on both ends of the equation, especially when things are thriving, because there's so many opportunities and so much excitement. I was just on the phone with the board at OBS, and they're like, they can't turn the calendar fast enough. They're so excited about what this April sale is going to be. Michelle, do you ever get a chance to get to any of the yearling sales or 2-year-old sales, or are you?
Yeah.
Pretty much-
Yes. I was at OBS. I think the last 2 years I did April. We don't usually go to March. Ryan went to March at the last minute this year, but March is not normally a sale that we can afford. So April's kind of where we can go. And then I try and make it out for at least 2 days of Keeneland if I can get childcare lined up. And then Ryan does go out for Keeneland. We don't usually do too much else. Occasionally someone will want, another OBS like later in the year horse, and Ryan will pop out for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that the June sale at OBS has really upped their game. It's not just kind of the leftovers and the slowies. It's really become slowies.
We buy a lot of those at slowies.
we used to call the broken bone sale. The broken bone sale. I don't like it.
I just finished Severance. Did either of you watch Severance on Apple Plus? Yeah. When you said slowies, I thought of innies and I was like, that's good, John. That was clever.
I wish I was that smart.
Can I make a point though, John? Because I want to say one thing about selling and buying at the same sale.
Please.
Because I think it's really important, because we sell under Solana Beach Sales. Everybody wants this, transparency. We sell under Solana Beach Sales, just a different company. Most people know. And if anybody asks me if that's my horse, I would say absolutely yes. Sure. But we don't, it's a major separation of church and state when we're talking about buying and selling. We do not buy our horses. That's period. End of story.
So you never had a horse? what happens if you have a horse that you just love and it went through and you're just like,
it happened. It's happened twice in 6 years. And one of them was actually Bobby Bow. Remember Bobby Bow?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So sometimes it's a circumstance where something crazy happens. The horse RNAs, it didn't. That was a very crazy circumstance, because he actually sold for $1 million and he ended up getting returned. So there was a whole big thing on that. We're not going to get into.
John didn't know that story though.
That's okay. No. We'll do that off the air. It's too long. It's too much of a long story. But then there's. I think there was one other horse that for some reason either RNA'd and we just couldn't get a buyer, and we're just like, all right, we'll just do it. But we're not. Yeah. That is not our intention at all. It's happened twice, and I think we've been pinhooking for 6 or 8 years, maybe 8. No, this is pinhook 8. Yeah, 8 years. Right. Wow. So only 2 horses of about what are we doing, about 30 a year? So it doesn't happen a lot.
Wow. Yeah, no, percentage wise. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the transparency, issue is so prevalent in our industry, where, it's unregulated. So you don't technically have to do it, but it's the right thing to do. And you guys have always been above board with that. There are other entities we won't get into, that basically already own the horse that they're selling to their partners, or or anything like that. And honestly, in all my due diligence about Little Red Feather, I'm not just saying this because you're here, I've said it before, you guys are above board on everything.
Well, I think you have to be. I mean, first of all, we have Gary Fenton. He's my business partner, and he's a lawyer, and he is just,
he's by the book.
He's by the book. Like, he doesn't like handshake deals. And so I'm very fortunate, because I would probably be doing a lot of handshake deals and saying, yeah, he said it was good. That's just who I am. But Gary is, crosses the T's and dots the I's. And as a lawyer, he's very, unfazed by anything that has to do with, we're just going to do it that way. He's like, no, we're going to do it our way. So contracts constantly, as much as we trust people, you still have to do it the right way. And we're representing other people. So if you have to really be careful, and you can't do anything that's not above board, or else no one's gonna come back to you. And that's and plus we have to look in the mirror at night. You got to look in the mirror and just say, hey, I feel good about what we're doing. We get dinged, just like a lot of partnerships, with margins. Like, okay, but that's how we make money. So,
right, exactly.
But I love that people get upset about margins on horses, but like they don't mind going and buying a Ruka t-shirt for, $35 that cost them $4 to make. Like I always say to people, like, everything you do has margins. Everything you buy has margins. These are our margins. If you don't like our margins, then you should go and get a bloodstock agent and fly to Ocala and vet all the horses and go find horses for yourself and pay, instead of paying $10,000 for 10%, buy a $100,000 horse. Good luck.
So I have a question. When you're like, because I know you guys don't buy like $1 million horses, right? You guys are super economy minded. I feel like.
About me or John?
No, sorry, Billy. Sorry. Obviously, John spends a lot more money than
John
does.
John's spending a lot of money on horses. Believe me, that's a whole other therapy session. But go ahead, Michelle.
Do you think about what your margin's going to be before you buy it? So if you're like, we think this horse is worth 200. Do you say like, okay, but we're going to, do we have to buy it for 150 to make sure it's still within that like affordability range? Or you're like, we think it's worth 200. That's what we're buying it for.
Our minimum partnership cost is probably somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 per partnership. So if we're going to do a partnership of a horse, it's going to be in that $50,000 to $75,000 range. So if we buy a $100,000 horse, normally the margin's going to be, we're going to sell that horse for 165. 175, somewhere in that range. As we have to spend more, so if we have a horse for that we're going to spend $250,000, that margin will increase slightly. It could be in the 80, 90, 100,000 for that horse, because there's just much more risk at stake. So that we marginalize that way. Right. And we do have a minimum. So if we bought a horse for 25,000, we still have to run the partnership for the 3, 4, 5 years, and we still have to make money. So that's why we don't really buy horses in that range, and that because the partnership then for that $25,000 horse might be 80. And then we're like, is that horse really worth 80? We bought it for 25. It's weird. It doesn't really work out that way. So that's kind of how we think about it.
No, exactly. No, I think that makes sense. And you have to, what people don't realize, especially ones that aren't in the business for a very long time, is that they're paying for your expertise and your time. Right. So it's not like you're just going and throwing a dart against the board and saying, oh, I guess we're buying a hip 82 because
we might be better that way.
It might be. I mean, for all of us, it might be better. Exactly right.
John, that's a great point. And they're also paying for the ability to buy fractionally.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're paying us. If you were interested in going in on a horse, a 5% share on a Little Red Feather horse, you're paying me to go find that other 95%.
Right.
That's important. People don't think about that.
Oh, yeah. Plus the management of it all. I mean, good luck trying to get somebody
we're like, I'd like to bid just on 10% of that horse, just on 10%. Someone's like, I'll bet the 90.
Be careful. That would be a secret auction. Right. You stand up in the middle and you're just like, I like this horse. Does anyone want a small piece?
I told Ryan that when we were like bidding on a horse one time, I'm on the phone. He's like, oh, it's going to go up past me right now. Oh, it's just like one more bid. And I was like, just ask around you. Do you see anyone you know that might want to go in?
Go ahead. Can somebody please? Yeah, can somebody please?
Awesome.
You know, like, I will bid 100,001. You know, like just to be able to they'll look at you like they're cross-eyed. So some of the people that I asked about you guys, I'm allowed to name names because they said very nice things. Taylor Made had wonderful things to say about you both. Brett Jones from Airdrie, who is quickly becoming one of my favorites.
He's the best.
You know, and we have a couple of mares with them and everything like that. And they were glowing about more so Michelle than you, Billy. But I
thought opposite, really.
No.
I get it. And Acacia is also a friend of the show and said that she really enjoyed doing the award ceremony with you, Michelle.
Oh, she's great. Actually, I did a podcast with her this morning.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, we did a fantasy Triple Crown draft.
Okay. And where was Hades?
He was actually Jonathan Kinchin picked him up in round 5.
All right, good. Round 5. How many people?
And he's in the Lexington, right?
Yeah, that was what he said. He was like, I mean, a horse that has to get points out of the Lexington. Like, I don't know how likely he is to win the Derby, but possibly that could be a really good Preakness play because it is throughout the Triple Crown.
Oh, that's right. It's Triple Crown.
Yes,
okay.
so it's a Triple Crown pick.